Howdy folks, today's soap is brought to us from Van Yulay. This one here is called Classic Ride. The scent is it's a pleasant scent. It's Classic Ride, so the scent is going to be along the lines of maybe like a new car smell, leather, along those lines. And I've got the matching aftershave to go right along with it. Now this one here is not alcohol based, but it is in a plastic container. And for some folks that might be a good thing because if you have a tendency to drop things, plastic is a little bit better on the floor than what glass is. I have it whipped up here with a Carl Monkhouse C-Mon here. He can get, might be able to find one of these. I don't think that he's actually making this particular one anymore, but this one here is Heritage Collection. There we go. I've got a link down below if you want to check it out. Collection of Heritage Collection shaving brushes at West Coast Shaving. There we go. And you can kind of see it's a little on the wet side. Whipped it up pretty, yeah, there it is. It's just, yeah, there, it's drippy. It's just not real drippy. It's well hydrated. And the scent is very pleasant to my nose. I actually could smell it this morning. This past week has been interesting when I can and can't smell, and when I can smell. At any rate, this is a Parker Platinum blade that I have, and this is a Parker. The coloration of this one here is satin chrome, and this is the 78R. Those numbers, for instance, the 87R is one of my favorite razors from them, and it's a twist to open, and it's somewhat shorter. This one here is about 4 inches in length and weighs about 2.9 ounces. In other words, almost 3 ounces. It has a little bit of weight behind it. And this knurling here is somewhat grippy, especially when you go side to side, right? Like it really grabs hold of your fingers. So it's somewhat grippy. Now, Sharpologist has already had a review out on this particular model. It not only comes in satin chrome, but it also comes in a couple other colors if you like to have something different than this one here. I purposely did this. Sometimes, when I do a shave, uh, it's usually, like an everyday shave. So in other words, stubble growth is very short. And this growth I have here is 4 days. So this 4 days, that should give you some idea of what this razor is capable of doing. And I probably should take a moment and mention there's no overhang. So if you shave underneath the nose, you don't have to worry about that part there. And this particular one right here, I think sometimes the term as goes with the safety bar on how it's grooved is this one here might be considered cobble as opposed to scalloped, just for somebody wants to know something like that. I wanted to put a hot towel to the face this morning. We'll go ahead and wet the face and get started with a pre-shaved soap from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. What's left of this one here is the ice cube. Like I say, what is left of it. And when your hands are wet, it's kind of hard to hang on to when it's this small. Not that this is a small chunk, but considering what it was when I first started, it's small. But I thought, maybe some folks might be interested in seeing a shave with a razor, how it looks, how it performs with more than just a day's worth of growth. And like I say, this is 4 days, so this is quite a bit. Matter of fact, this might be the only video I have with 4 days worth of growth. I've had 2 and sometimes 3, and those don't happen that often, but this one here I think is the first time for 4 days worth of growth. That's a lot of growth. So we'll see how it works out. And this is my first time using this razor, so we'll see how everything works out. I'll have a video coming up pretty soon with Parker's SRP. In other words, the scales are made out of pine. And I also have a straight razor from Strike Gold Shave, Gold Dollar 300. Got one of those shaves coming up here pretty soon. Like I say, this is pretty wet. I've used lather just a tad bit wetter than this, but this is still pretty wet. And for some folks' standard, this is probably more wet than what they typically would use. It does smell good. It's, as it goes for the scent and picking out any particular scent, my nose this morning, and I've tried off and on since I got this in the mail, I've been trying to see if maybe there might be a day that my nose will be able to pick out a particular scent, and my nose just, I just can't do it. Speaking of that sort of thing, the other day I was sitting at the kitchen table, and just to give you an idea, my nose just it picked up something I had never smelled before sitting there, and I was quite surprised because I'd never smelled that before, and it lasted for about 15 minutes, and it went away. Those, like I say, just a part-time worker. It works when it wants to. Most time I would not smell anything quite that strong. I mean, unless it's just right up next to my nose. And there was nothing there next to my nose. So what you smell and what I smell could be totally different. You might actually, in other words, I think there's supposed to be a leather scent to it. My nose doesn't pick up the leather. Not saying that it's not there, it's just my nose doesn't pick it up. Just one thing to be aware of. One person may have a video and they really like the scent of something, and that particular soap, and then another person will have a video and that scent does not agree with their nose. It happens. You can kind of tell. First pass, it took out quite a bit of it. So in other words, how aggressive is it? I don't find that it's aggressive. Maybe on the upper side of mild, the bottom of medium maybe. It just really depends on what you're used to, and as well as what blade you're using. I know for me, Parker blade is not one that I use on a regular basis. I don't find anything wrong with them. I just, for whatever reason, don't find myself reaching for them. I do have a few of them, as well as like, for instance, a Derby Premium is what they remind me of. Sometimes you just kind of get in the groove of things using particular blades, and just how things go. I'm not saying you can't get a good shave with this blade by any means. It's doing rather well. It's just, you just kind of get in a routine and find a blade that works for you. For me, the assortment of Persona blades work well. But I do have some others that I do enjoy using. Probably the one blade that I like using that you don't see very often is Lord Cool. That one there is Teflon coated blade. It does well for me. Lord makes a lot of different blades, and there's always been a discussion, and pick your razor blade manufacturer, where there's some of these blades are just got different names, just rebranded, same blade, just different name, different packaging, different marketing. It does make you wonder sometimes. Not much left. So efficiency, I know that was the second pass across the green. So efficiency, this is pretty good. In other words, on the across the green, if I'd varied my strokes just a little bit differently than what I normally do, yeah, I would already be done with my shave. So for me, it's a fairly efficient shaver, and it's smooth. I don't find it aggressive at all. In other words, makes for a good daily shaver, and it doesn't have any problems handling 4 days worth of growth. As goes for the soap, slickness, if you're unfamiliar with Van Yulay, the soap is not a hard soap. It's it might be referred to commonly as a crope. It's not a hard soap, but it's not so soft that it's a cream. And I haven't had so far, in other words, whatever soap base she whips up, whether it's a tallow, vegan, whatever the case is, I don't have a problem with the soap bases. There might be, as it goes for any kind of irritation because of what is added in there for the scent, that might be a problem for some folks, of course. But for me, these soaps work out quite well. It is good to see her open again. I know she went to, anytime you move from one side of the, excuse me, one side of the United States to the other, and you're moving a business, especially one like hers, it's that's a task. Boy, that's wouldn't be anything I'd be interested in doing, that's for sure. Being in the military in the past, boy, many times I moved, yeah, I know. I've had my fill of moving and not interested in doing it on large scale like she did. Boy, that had to be quite a chore. And then, COVID and everything else happened about that same time. Just a number of things took place that just really made things difficult for her. She's back up and running. Nice, smooth, comfortable shape. It's what I expected. There's, price range, yes. I think this one's like $26. Very affordable. I like it. That's a pretty good razor. So if the handle is not to your liking, excuse me, you could always flip the head over to a handle that you do like. But boy, it works well for me. I enjoy Parker products. As you probably already know, I had a series of videos where I kept on using all my Parker razors, whether they were shavettes or whether they were just a little bit of stinging right there, or whether they were DEs, injector even. I enjoy them. They work well for me, and they won't break the bank. That's the part that I find, I guess you might say, really pleasing. The products work for me, and they're not expensive. In other words, right around the $30 mark fits most people's budget. I'm just really, how can you say, quite pleased with this razor. The shave I got today, it's just really nice. And of course it does help to have a good soap. And like I say, Banulay, the soap base, whatever one that I use, just never seems to disappoint me at all. Of course, I also, here recently, that's what the restrictor looks like, picked up a kilo of TFS soap. It's the almond scented one. And so, in other words, prepping for the zombie apocalypse, when you get a kilo of cello and I got a kilo of TFS's soap, I tell you what, that's 2 kilos of soap alone. That's going to last you a moment. Yeah, it does smell good. This is a really nice scent. I appreciate this one here. I had a great shave today. Hope everybody's doing well. Day is Tuesday, day after Labor Day. And yeah, have fun getting back to work, all right? Hey, stay healthy, stay safe, and smooth shaves to you.